What's up, folks? It's your boy Bob Hollywood here with another exciting review. Today's review is going to be this G.I. Joe Classified Series Dusty. He's number 65 in the line. I just got this guy. Oh, this is Tiger Force, so I believe that's a Target exclusive. I just got this guy, and I bought him on clearance. He was dirt cheap, so I went ahead and grabbed him. I would have liked to have this figure in my collection, but only at a good price. I don't know anything about Dusty, so it's not like, oh, I gotta get Dusty, he's my favorite. And it's not like I'm trying to collect every figure in the G.I. Joe Classified line. Really, I've fallen off after the first few waves. Let's say it's the beginning of 2024. I don't think I've really got any figures from this line since like 2022. Like, if I'm being honest, I think that's accurate. Anyway, let's just go over this box. This is clearly the plastic-free packaging, which says up here. I think this is only my second figure that I've had with the plastic-free packaging. The last one was the Mystique I did a review for. That was the very first one. So I was joking with my friend when we were on the hunt. I was like, oh man, that feels janky. But I knew it's got paper on the figure and everything. On the front, you see these three images of Dusty. There's this large image of him, and then there's two smaller ones. I guess there's four images, or five if you want to count the image of the figure, but I wasn't. I was just going off of this artwork. On the side, there is the same picture that's on the front, as well as this picture is larger now. Same picture there. On the left side, or on the other side, is what Dusty specializes in. Again, I've never done the research on what these mean. I think you can go on G.I. Joe's Classified's website to find out. On the back, you see the figure better. You see him with all his gear on, and over here you see him without the gear, but all the accessories that he comes with. And then there's a bunch of legalese telling you not to feed this to onion children under the age of 3. Don't feed this to any children. On the bottom, you get a barcode. I'll try to get that for you if my camera cooperates, as well as more legalese. I'm going to go ahead and bust this guy out of his non-plastic prison, and I'll be right back. So it took me a little while, but here's Dusty and everything that was inside of his box. Dusty was unsullied, and what I mean by that is he had his little tray he was in. He was still sealed. His little bag had his accessories, and that was inside of this box, this Foot Locker type box, and this is just cardboard. You can store accessories in it or anything. You could do whatever you want with it. And you see all of his accessories right here in front of him. Let's go over those accessories. So you got his backpack. And you can see the design and the sculpting that makes it look like it's actual fabric, and it actually is bulging from items inside of it. You got some water bottles. You got, stuff if he's out in the desert he's going to need. And again, there's a little peg, and that's going to peg onto his back, and we'll go over that after we do his articulation. He's got his helmet here. Again, that's going to come in handy to protect you from the heat of the desert. He's got two pair of goggles, and I don't know exactly what they're supposed to. I don't think they're supposed to be different in terms of what they help him see. I think this one, which is smaller, this one in my left hand on the left side of the screen is smaller than this one. This one should go just over his head, this head here, and this one should go with this helmet. That way this helmet is a little bit wider. That way he can have his goggles, whether he's got his helmet on or not. He has this little knife, and there is a boot sheath that I'll show you when we do his articulation, or when we go over him in general. And then he has this gun, and this gun has, I don't know what this is officially called, but it's a kickstand. So if he's on the ground prone, gives him some stability. And also, obviously, he could not use it. I don't think it comes off. No, it does come off. It comes apart. I'm having some trouble getting it out, but it comes apart. That way he doesn't have to have that if he's, if he's running around. It doesn't look silly, or it doesn't get in the way. I don't know how that works in real life. I don't know how easily this part would detach from the gun in real life. I don't know anything about guns. Can't tell you what kind of gun this is. I can't tell you anything other than this shoots bullets, makes things hurt. All right, let's look at the actual figure himself. We got Dusty here, and on his jacket, on his top, it says G.I. Joe on his left breastplate or chest piece. And on the right, it says Tador. I'm assuming that's his last name. Unlike some of the other Joe figures, like Beachhead, Wayne Beachhead Sneeden, on the box, it said all that for Beachhead. On this, it just says Dusty. It doesn't give you his first and last name. And again, I guess that's easy enough to look up. I just don't know that information right now. Again, I know nothing about this character. Before G.I. Joe Classified released this figure or announced this figure, I didn't know there was a G.I. Joe named Dusty. I know nothing about it. I saw this head, and I was like, that looks like Duke. And if it weren't for people saying, oh, Dusty or whatever, I would have thought this was Duke, Tiger Force out, or Camo, as you can see he has on. And when we do comparisons to other figures, I'll switch it up a little bit, and I'll compare him to Duke so we can see how close that face is. But anyway, he's got this dark green top, and there are yellow stripes, almost like tiger stripes, almost as if like something with two claws took a swipe at him in these areas. And at the bottom, he's got these olive pants. Again, I want to compare those to Duke. I think the lower legs, the lower body is all reused from Duke. He's got these boots. They're brown. Again, there's a sheath right there. And these are a little stiff. Right there for that knife I was showing you. We can go ahead and pop it in there. Voila. On the back, he still has his these yellow tiger stripes. You know, sometimes figures, they'll paint the front, but the back is just bland. And he has this harness. Let's go over the front of the harness first. You can see there's red here. The round harness. Again, this could come off. It would take some work, but you could get that off. I don't have a need to get it off. There's the top harness. It has some red in it. There's a hole there that doesn't impede the, so it doesn't impede the pegging of his backpack. And then there's this belt. This belt is one solid piece. Not one solid piece. It's one piece. You can see here that it lifts from the bottom part, but it's attached still right there. It's still attached. Oh, no, it's not. But it's attached here at this pouch. And I can't tell. I think it's attached to this green piece. So you're not getting that off easily. And underneath his green top, he has on a red shirt. So again, he has the camo on two places on his face and on his neck. Nothing on his hands, and his hands are both trigger fingers. Peg holes at the bottom of his boots, and you can see it says 2022. So the figure itself, I believe, came out in 2023, but again, reuse. A lot of times when they reuse the molds, it already has that date on it. So if you look at figures, if you look at any of your figures from any time period, if it has reuse, a lot of the times it's going to have the date for the first figure that was molded in that thing. So anyway, let's go over his articulation. Let's start at the top and work our way down. That's him looking at us. His head goes up that much, which is not much. Goes down that much. Let me get this out of here. What's the focus on that? Goes down that much. That's him standing. It rotates 360, and it's going to be a little, should be easy to get his head off. There's going to be a peg there. But this neck also is going to be, you can see his neck is wobbling. That's not just his head, that's his neck. Sometimes these turn all the way around. I can't get it to go completely around. But if you're looking at his Adam's apple, you can see it's staying stationary while I twist his body. His arms, they're going to go up that high. And there's a butterfly joint in there. And they're going to rotate 360. They're going to rotate also at the bicep 360. And then he has these double jointed elbows. A little stiff. But I don't really get... I've never played with a G.I. Joe Classified figure and felt like it was going to break from me trying to get it to move. Classified seems a little bit better made than like Marvel Legends. Sometimes I'll touch a Marvel Legend and it's not moving and I'm like, I'm not going to force it. But he's got these double jointed elbows. He's got wrist articulation. And he's got a horizontal hinge on that left hand, as well as his right hand is a vertical hinge. But all the other articulation is going to be the same. For his torso, he's got an ab crunch. And you can hear that detense. I love that sound. He can rotate at the waist. And what I'm doing is this lower piece, this lower part of the dark green is separate from the top. So it's just a piece of plastic over top. So you can rotate it there. Again, 360. And that wasn't impeded by that piece of plastic. Let's go over his hips. Wow, he can get the full Jean-Claude. He's got... I spoke too soon. All right, he's got some tight hips or upper thigh. Double knee. Again, super tight. I should have done it with the one I already bent since it might have been looser. That bottom knee is super tight. I can't get that right now. Again, not that it feel like it's going to break. It's just I can't get it. I'm going to have to apply some heat. And he's got these boot cuffs. He's also got ankle rockers that will allow him to rotate his ankle at weird angles. Anyway, that was his articulation. I'm going to be right back with some size comparisons. As you can see here, he is compared to a Jazzwares John Jones UFC figure, as well as a Hasbro Power Rangers Beast Morphers Red Ranger. He's taller than the Red Ranger. It looks like he's about the same height as John Jones. And real quick, before I do any other comparisons, let's get his actual height. So, a little over 6 1/4. A little over 6 1/4 for him. Anyway, let's do some more comparisons. Actually zoom in. There we go. This time we are comparing him to Eric Killmonger, Marvel Legends, Hasbro Marvel Legends, as well as against Hasbro's Overwatch figure. He's very tall compared to the Overwatch figure. Those guys tend to be pretty small. And then this Black Panther figure, well, Killmonger from Black Panther, is looking shorter than Dusty, almost at Duke and then almost at Lowlight. Shorter than both. I believe if this wasn't a movie figure, this would be taller. If this was just a Black Panther figure from the comic, it would be bigger, but I guess this is more of Michael B. Jordan's actual stature, which is fine. Comparing him to some more Hasbro figures, Hasbro Plasma series, Winston Zeddemore. I say a lot. I'm sorry about that. He's way taller than Winston. And I don't think that's because our actor here, Ernie Hudson, is this short. I just think Hasbro chose to go really small with their G.I. Joe, with their Ghostbusters figures, which is okay. I still like the figures. And then we have him with a Black Series Hasbro, again, Black Series Lando Calrissian from the Star Wars Han Solo story. Solo is the name of the movie? Yeah, so that's Donald Glover. Again, that might just be... I don't even want to say that's Donald Glover's height. The Black Series figures are, again, a little bit smaller than, say, like the G.I. Joe, and they're definitely smaller than Marvel Legends. So, yeah, there's that. And to break it up, to get away from Hasbro, we have a DC Multiverse Mattel Vixen to Dusty's right, and to his left is a Mattel again. Let me try to get this... He-Man or Masters of the YouTube. I don't know. It's the figure itself is from the television series, the cartoon series from like 2022 or 2021. But I cannot think of the line of the actual figures. And I only have a few of them. I only have a few figures from that line. And he's actually, it looks like he's taller. No, her shoulders are higher. Their eyes are right at each other's eye level, and her hair gives her the slight advantage in that regard. And on camera, Andrea looks taller. But again, it might just be the camera. Whoops. Sorry, Vixen. No, it looks like his eye level is higher, but her hair gives her, again, advantage. That is the magic of black hair. It defies gravity. Be right back. And for our final size comparison, normally when I have Titus on screen, I have this guy, Roadblock. But I wanted to compare him to Duke, so I'm comparing him to Duke. Titus is obviously way bigger than both of them. He's a WWE figure, and I don't know if they're officially 7-inch scale, but they're 7-inch scale. But anyway, let's look at the two of them next to each other. Let me zoom out. Whoops, I zoomed in. So yeah, before I said the lower half was reuse, specifically I said of Duke. Maybe these hips are obviously just repainted. That looks, no, I'm not looking at the butt. This is a plastic like diaper over Duke, over both of them. So these little things are different. But I'm talking specifically this actual hip joint. That's the same, just repainted. It might be hard to see because of this gun. But this part above the knee, not the same. On either side, you can see that the sculpting is different on that pouch. And knees, obviously different. Shins, obviously different. Boots, not even the actual foot part. This has a heel, has this design here, whereas this has not much of a heel. So yeah, that's cool. But let's get to the face comparison. I told you when I first saw this guy was announced, I thought that it was a reuse, but it's clearly not. Duke looks a little older. He has a scar on his face there, and Dusty looks a little younger. I guess if Duke looks older, Dusty has to look younger. Duke has a stronger jaw, different lips, everything. Nothing's the same, man. I did not give Dusty enough credit, and I feel bad for it. Anyway, I'm going to, I don't know, man. I guess I'm going to put his accessories on him. I'm going to give him his accessories. That's the thicker one, but I'm not 100% sure how this one works. Maybe it's just supposed to sit on his head for photography and that's sakes, whereas this one he can wear. I'm mad I didn't give him enough credit. I really thought he was a lot of reuse. Good job, Hasbro. Hasbro does a really good job with the classifieds line, and I think that's because they own G.I. Joe, and they don't have to pay licensing for like Star Wars and everything, so they have more money to play around with in that regard. That's him with his goggles. And that was, you saw me put it on, that was relatively easy to put on. This backpack is going to give me a little more trouble. When you push it as far as it goes, it just still doesn't necessarily feel like it's in there, but it doesn't give him any balance issues. And his gun, I'm just going to go ahead and pop it in his right hand. I'm not even going to try to make him hold it as if he were going to shoot it. Just want to put it in his hand. But again, in a normal situation, he would be able to put the other hand on this if he's not prone. But anyway, folks, I have talked enough about this figure. I enjoy this figure. This is a nice figure. I don't know where he ranks for me. I don't have a typical G.I. Joe classified ranking other than Beachhead being my favorite Joe, followed by Scarlet, and then Destro being my favorite overall figure in the line. Until I get Crocmaster, maybe. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate you being here. Remember to always take care of yourselves. That means love yourself and love the people in your life, and don't allow people into your life that don't love you. It seems very simple enough, but it's something I guarantee you everyone has struggled with at some point. Anyway, action figures speak louder than words.